Good evening. I'm Chris Kims. We now bring you this special report on 20 ways to spot a psychopath and how to deal with them. What is a psychopath? They are simply morally depraved individuals who represent the monsters in our society. They are unstoppable and untreatable predators. They tend to operate with a grandiose demeanor, an attitude of entitlement, and a tendency toward sadism. Fearlessness is probably the prototypical characteristic. It's helpful to think of them as high-speed vehicles with no brakes. There are 4 different subtypes of psychopaths. The first is the primary psychopath. They do not respond to punishment, apprehension, stress, or disapproval. They seem to be able to inhibit their antisocial impulses most of the time, not because of conscience, but because it suits their purpose at the time. Words do not seem to have the same meaning for them as they do for us. In fact, it's unclear if they even grasp the meaning of their own words. They don't follow any life plan, and it seems as if they are incapable of experiencing any genuine emotion. The second type is the secondary psychopath. They are risk takers, but are also more likely to be stress reactive, worriers, and guilt prone. They expose themselves to more stress than the average person, but they are as vulnerable to stress as the average person. This suggests that they are not fully psychopathic. They are daring, adventurous, unconventional people who began playing by their own rules early in life. They are strongly driven by a desire to escape or avoid pain, but are unable to resist temptation. As their anxiety increases towards some forbidden object, so does their attraction to it. They live their lives by the lure of temptation. Both primary and secondary psychopaths can be subdivided into one of these 2 types. First, we have the distempered psychopath. They are the kind that seem to fly into a rage or frenzy more easily and more often than other subtypes. Their frenzy will resemble an epileptic fit. They are also usually men with incredibly strong sex drives, and seemingly obsessed by sexual urges during a large part of their waking lives. Powerful cravings also seem to characterize them, as in drug addiction, kleptomania, pedophilia, any illicit or illegal indulgence. They like the endorphin high or rush off of excitement and risk-taking. The serial rapist murderer known as the Boston Strangler was such a psychopath. The second type is the charismatic psychopath. They are charming, attractive liars. They are usually gifted at some talent or another, and they use it to their advantage in manipulating others. They are usually fast talkers, and possess an almost demonic ability to persuade others. This subtype often comes to believe in their own fictions. They are irresistible. Psychopaths have always existed in varying form and to various degrees. They have been known by various titles. They have been studied using various techniques, and through the years their ailment has been blamed on various causes. But one thing never varies: all psychopaths share 3 common characteristics. They are all very egocentric individuals with no empathy for others, and they are incapable of feeling remorse or guilt. While the psychopath has likes and dislikes and fondness for the pleasures that human company can bring, analysis shows that he is completely egocentric, valuing others only for their enhancement of his own pleasure or status. Not only do they covet possessions and power, but they gain special pleasure in usurping and taking from others. What they can plagiarize, swindle, and extort are fruits far sweeter than those they can earn through honest labor. The psychopath is a manipulator. Mimicry is often used to convince others that the psychopath is a normal human being. He does this to create a false empathy with his victim. The psychopath will try to make you believe he has normal emotions by spinning some sad tale or professing profound, moving experiences. The truth is, most psychopaths go through life as in an incubator, touched by few and having no real compassion for others. But they will lie to convince you that they have normal emotions. The pity factor is one reason why victims often fall for these poor people. Lying, deceiving, and manipulation are natural talents for psychopaths. When caught in a lie or challenged with the truth, they are seldom perplexed or embarrassed. They simply change their stories or attempt to rework the facts so that they appear to be consistent with the lie. The results are a series of contradictory statements and a thoroughly confused listener. This is how psychopaths operate. They will deny reality. Often, the psychopath will turn on the victim and claim that the victim suffers from delusions and is not mentally stable. The psychopath is primarily distracted and impressed by his own grandiose self-representation, which often leads to him unwittingly telling people things that lead to his detection. They often forget the lies they told and tell contradicting tales, which often makes the listener wonder if either the psychopath is crazy, although in this case the psychopath isn't really crazy, he's just forgotten what lies he's told. Most psychopaths are very arrogant and cocky. However, when charming a potential victim, they say all the right things and make you believe they are kind-hearted souls. The truth is, psychopaths do not really care about friendships or ties. They are very talented at appearing much more humble than the average person, but are hardly so. Some are also able to feign concern about the lower classes and profess that they are on the side of the underdog, the poor, and so forth. They may ramble and tell stories that seem unlikely in light of what is known about them. Typically, they attempt to appear familiar with sociology, psychiatry, medicine, psychology, philosophy, poetry, literature, art, or law. A signpost to this trait is often a smooth lack of concern at being found out. Despite their failures, psychopaths have a very narcissistic and grossly inflated view of their self-worth and importance, a truly astounding egocentricity and sense of entitlement, and see themselves as the center of the universe, as superior beings who are justified in living according to their own rules. They often come across as arrogant, shameless braggarts, self-assured, opinionated, domineering, and cocky. They love to have power and control over others and seem unable to believe that people have valid opinions different from theirs. Psychopaths will not only deny the past and trivialize it, but will avoid answering your questions directly, and even if they seem to answer them, you can be sure that it's not the answer you were looking for. It has been said that even when they do give you a straight answer, the real issue will never be addressed by them, although they may even claim to be honorable when it suits them. But don't be fooled, for this is where the psychopath wants his victim. He wants to shame you all at the same time fitting you into his plans. Often they are completely forthright about the matter, calmly stating that they have no sense of guilt, are not sorry for the pain and destruction they have caused, and that there is no reason for them to be concerned. In part 2 of this series we will look at 20 surefire ways to spot a psychopath and what to do when you find them. Please join me, Chris Kims, for part 2 tomorrow.
What am I doing? Oh, am I throwing fucking chocolate pennies at the local wildlife in an extra large bacon hat?